How does this guy,
Charlie Puth,
identify a note within seconds?
A, so A.
But whenever you try, you can never find the note. That's a C sharp. But what if I were to tell you that you actually could get a little bit of this superpower that Charlie has? Well, your first question would be, how do I get this superpower? Does it take a bite from a genetically modified spider? Do you need a hammer that controls lightning? Do you need the ability to fly? Or say the word Shazam? Oh wow, huh, I didn't actually expect that to work. No, you don't need any of these things, because in reality, and I'm sorry to spoil all your hopes and dreams, but these things don't exist. Unless you're Mr. Perfect Pitch himself, but I'll reveal some techniques that you can use to get a little bit of his superpower in a little bit. The good thing for us is that we don't need some sci-fi superpower to gain this ability. We just need our ears and a sidekick, our instrument. Believe it or not, you can actually get very close to perfect pitch for yourself. But I've found techniques that have helped me to identify keys of songs, and I'll share those techniques with you in a little bit. The truth is, the more that you use these techniques that I'm going to show you, the closer you'll get to perfect pitch. So how do you gain this superpower of picking out the key of any song? Well, this is where we can learn something from our superhero friend, Charlie Puth. Charlie grew up surrounded by music, and from a young age, his mother Deborah taught him classical piano. At the age of 10, Charlie became obsessed with jazz, and set his sights on becoming the best jazz pianist in the world. During his high school years, Charlie attended the Manhattan School of Music, and years later found himself on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, where he revealed this.
They say you have perfect pitch. What does that mean exactly?
A C sharp is ah, and an F sharp is ah, and then B is ah.
Charlie discovered that he possessed a rare gift, perfect pitch. He could hear notes and play them back flawlessly. You see, it's still debated whether or not someone's born with perfect pitch. I can't settle that debate, but I can show you some techniques that will get you pretty close to it. So here are some techniques that I've come across to help me pick out the key of any song. Now here's the disclaimer, it will take you time to learn these techniques, but the more that you implement these techniques, the closer you will get to perfect pitch. My go-to way of finding the key of a song is to listen to a melody and then trying to pick out the tonic of that melody. And this is all you need to do. Play notes on the piano until you find the note that sounds like the tonic, then play the scale of that tonic and see if all the notes sound right alongside the song that you're listening to. If all the notes sound right, then you've most likely found the key. But if there's one note that sounds out of place, then you're most likely playing the perfect fifth key of the major key that you should be playing in. Another technique that will help develop your vocals is to hum whilst listening to a song until you find the tonic. And no, it doesn't require you to get into a meditated state where rocks start flying around you and airwaves vibrate whilst humming to find that resonating frequency, though that would be pretty cool. Now this is a great way of training your brain to pick out notes with your vocals. It's a great ability to have, especially when you don't have a musical instrument on you. Before I share the technique that you can use to grasp some of Charlie's amazing ability, here's one technique that I've recently come across, but it's seriously blown my mind, and it's the fastest technique yet. It's based off the rule of thumb that the last note of the melody of the song you're listening to is the tonic of the song that you're listening to. This rule of thumb also applies to instrument melodies too, so let's give it a go with some examples. Alright, moving on to the technique that you've been waiting for, the technique that will turn you into a Charlie. You might have heard of a film called The Sound of Music. It's a film that people associate the song with the lyrics Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do. The thing is, these aren't just lyrics, but they're part of a system called solfege, which originated from a guy called Guido d'Arezzo in the early 11th century. This system gives every note of a scale its own unique syllable and can be used as a way of identifying notes within a song's scale. This system can be moved around anywhere on the piano, and using Do as that reference point for the tonic, you can figure out where any other note is in that scale. The thing is, Charlie might have been born with his gift of perfect pitch, but the techniques that I've shown you will help you to gain some incredible abilities that will help you to understand music like never before. But to implement any of these techniques on the piano and have any chance of getting some of Charlie's gift, there's one thing that you need to master first, and that is the basics of piano. So watch this playlist to learn the very basics of piano in an easy to understand format. And I'm sorry to spoil all your hopes and dreams,